Tell how gingerly he's walking off there. That does not look good, even though the Penguins said they're still evaluating. I got to believe that's long term.
Yeah, and this is going to sound crazy, but it's good that if it's an upper body arm injury of some sort, I mean, at least it wasn't his face or his neck or his head going in first.
Spinal.
It could have been something that severe. And Mike Sullivan was also asked about the Shabbat contact there. He called it incidental, and I agree.
All right, the other big story, of course, the Steelers out of the playoffs 2 years in a row. I think at 8-5, not many people thought that was going to happen, that they could beat one of those three teams, or maybe three of those three teams.
Probably
Buffalo,
needed to do two, as
Jets,
it turned out.
and Ravens. They were favored in all three. When you look back at the one play of one of those games that turned it around negatively for them, to me it was going to be the Wildcat play in the Buffalo game. I thought they had that game, and in the fumble at the 10-yard line when they're about to go in at halftime. That, to me, was significant. What about you?
Can I go back further to Juju's fumble against the Ravens early in the season?
That too. I mean, that was big. I'm talking about when they were 8-5.
When they were 8-5, okay, then I'll go with the inability for either Smith-Schuster or James Washington to catch one of those two passes at the end of the Jets game. How about that? Specifically Washington, since it would have been a touchdown, and he actually did have one hand on the ball and was about to bring the other one onto it before it got ripped away. For as much heat as Juju took for that and for his poor play of late, which I think is worthy of being assigned, that near catch from James Washington could have gotten them a victory over the Jets. And then if they get a victory over the Jets and they're in a less dire situation where they need help to get into the playoffs from the Houston Texans, then I think maybe the outcome's different against the Baltimore Ravens backups.
Yeah, but that fumble, since you brought it up, was a critical one in the Baltimore Ravens game. There's no question about that. All right, quarterback situation before we go to the lines real quick, and that would be Ben Roethlisberger is expected to come back. But I don't think anyone knows how effective he will be or if there are any kind of setbacks along the way. So they have to protect themselves against that. What is the best case scenario for them moving forward?
I think the best case scenario for them is to find a veteran backup quarterback of some pedigree, some repute. You don't want to go the old decrepit route like they did for a couple years where they just had Charlie Batch and Byron Leftwich and those guys too late in their careers and they're breaking down. They couldn't count on them either, and they just cost more money to not be counted on. If they can find a mid-range guy like what, the Saints did with Teddy Bridgewater, that to me would be optimum. The thing is, you don't want Mason Rudolph to be the number 3. What's the point of Mason Rudolph being the number 3?
There isn't. I think if they believe he could be the number 2.
You can't go to Paxton Lynch because he never gets enough snaps as the number 3.
I thought yesterday there was a time to go to Paxton Lynch. If there ever was a time, it would have been then. And he was a number 1 pick.
But I'm just saying, if that's the mentality, if the third guy can almost never play because he's only the third guy, then there's no reason to have Mason Rudolph if they do sign a veteran backup. Let's
go to the lines. Herb joins us in Renfrew. Hello, Herb. How are you?
Hi, Bob and Tim. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
And my question is, do you guys think Mike Tomlin will shake up his coaching staff this next year? He didn't even have a quarterbacks coach who could have really helped those 2 young quarterbacks.
I always believe they should have a quarterback coach. I think there's too much on the plate of an offensive coordinator to do all of that. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, especially would have been more helpful this year because of who the 2 young quarterbacks are. I mean, I don't know if Ben's going to listen to a quarterback coach. He didn't want to listen to some offensive coordinators.
Well, Fichtner could be his then. But to me, there's so many coaches. Why not bring in another one?
Yeah, and what I would say to his point about shaking up the coaching staff, I don't think this is a year where you shake up the coaching staff. I don't see their failure to make the playoffs this year being on the coaching staff. I see it on a lack of a quarterback and some decline in an aging offensive line and not enough talent right now that was available often enough at the running back position.
Speaking of the running back position, that's going to be one that is scrutinized a lot in this offseason. But quite frankly, they still have one more year for James Conner. I would not expect any change. I think James Conner comes back and needs to prove that he can play all 16 games or how many he can. And if so, then he cashes in someplace maybe else, somewhere else. I like Snell. I don't have any problem with him. I think Samuel still has a role. I don't know that you need to put that as a priority. To me, tight end is a bigger priority. They need somebody in a pass-catching role who can block better than those guys did.
Let me give you a scenario, and you tell me what you would do with this, okay? So let's just say for the sake of argument, they don't have a first-round pick. They go to the second round. The best player on the board available is this year's Jacobs. Like one of the best running backs available is on the board for them in the middle of the second round. Or it's like the year where they got Lev, where it was Le'Veon Bell and Giovanni Bernard, and help me out, who's the big fat guy from Green Bay? Eddie Lacy, thank you, who was actually all right a little bit.
He was good, actually. His first year, he was Rookie of the Year.
But if you've got a quality guy like that, and all the best tight ends are gone,
right?
And would you draft the running back, and then what would you do with Connor?
I don't know. I don't think I would put that as my number one. I'd look at offensive line then if that were the case, because I still think the offensive line needs help.
If you want to go down that path, I wouldn't balk at a tackle, because they might move Filer to guard if they decide to move Ramon Foster along, and then you might have to go with Zach Banner or Chooks Okorafor at right tackle.
But I thought Okorafor would play this year.
I thought he would too, but he got supplanted.
Yeah, I know. Interesting. All right, let's go out to Waylon in Washington, who joins us on the Bordas and Bordas hotline right here. What's up, Waylon?
Hi, Bob. Hi, Tim.
Hi.
Hey, just a question, opinion on Bud Dupree. Like, I think he's great. I don't know about a franchise player, but any opinions on, like, should they keep him? Your thoughts?
They should franchise him.
They have no choice because they don't have any depth around there, Waylon, and I think the only way that you're going to keep him is to franchise him. The question is, do they want to allocate that much money for that position? And I think for 1 year you can do it. Multiple years, you have to worry about TJ Watt.
With so many needs they need to address, especially on the offensive side of the ball, why do you want to create one on defense by letting a very good player who might be coming to his peak years go? I understand the hesitance to give him a boatload of money on a long-term contract, but a franchise tag to me makes sense if he's willing to take it. He has indicated that he has. That tune might change as free agency comes closer. We've seen that act before, as I recall.
I don't.
But, I think the smart thing to do is to try to franchise him and keep him at because, Bob, you have a lot of holes that we need to address. We just talked about a couple of them on offense. They have one pick within the first 96 before they get to the compensatory for Bell, so like two barely in the top 100. Don't create a hole by just carelessly or callously saying, we had one good year out of Bud, and he's not going to be any good after this.
No, and quite frankly, if you do that, you got to draft somebody there then. And it's just, you don't have enough draft picks available to satisfy all these needs. So it's going to be interesting. They're going to have to spend some money, I believe. They have the Brown contract coming off the books for them. They also have a raised salary cap. There could be some restructures. We see that every year. Pete in Squirrel Hill is on the line right now. Hello, Pete. How are you?
Guys, how are you? Happy New Year to you and your families.
You too.
Hey, Bob. A friend of mine and her husband are season ticket holders with the Penguins for 34 years. Her ticket breakdown is $45 a game for each ticket. The games that she can't make it to due to prior commitments, she tries to sell them, Bob, to those different online sites. She told me the best that she can get is $30 for each ticket, so the games that she can't make, she's taking a $30 hit. What happened to the demand for tickets? I didn't know it was like that. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess that's just an indication of how success has kind of spoiled people for the regular season. If they're in the playoffs, she can probably make her money back. The Penguins don't care. They've got her money already.
All right. Hey, listen, we got to take a break, but a very special birthday wish want to pass out. The name of the show is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Well, the First Lady of Ireland Contracting, Diane, has a birthday today. So we want to say happy birthday to... I'm going to say, Gary, if you're out there, Gary Ireland is the husband. Make sure you do stuff for Di today. It's her special day. Make sure of that, okay? Happy birthday. And we'll take a break.
Get her Penguin tickets. I hear they're available.
Yeah, they're available.
They're flying off the shelves.
We'll do that for you. All right, we'll take a break. Come back with more right here. It is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on Pittsburgh CW.